Tonight, the pressure is really on at LA City Hall. Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa preparing to unveil what is expected to be the tightest city budget proposal in modern history.
A huge deficit and a double-digit unemployment rate, just two of the major problems that will have to be factored in. KCAL9 political reporter Bryanj recently sat down for an extended interview with the mayor, and he joins us now with more on that. Dave.
The deficit estimated about $500 million, 12% unemployment, and maybe thousands of teachers facing layoffs. What a difference from 4 years ago when the mayor took over his first term. Of course, it's not all his doing, of course, we all know that, but nonetheless, he's going to have to deal with it. Next week, Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa will deliver his annual State of the City address, accompanied by that new budget plan we mentioned. Last week, I interviewed the mayor for an LA roundtable program on CityView 35. We talked about the economy, running for governor, and the worst-case layoff scenario for city workers.
If there aren't other cuts, yes, there could be up to 5,000 layoffs. Just so that you understand the magnitude of this, we've never laid off more than 9 employees, and that was in 1984.
Facing the worst economy and tightest budget plan in decades, Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa's worst-case scenario has cast a pall over City Hall. And although he has proposed a shared sacrifice plan with fewer layoffs but more unpaid time for most municipal workers, it's still unclear exactly how many jobs could be lost. Some critics have charged the mayor's own economic development policies relied too heavily on real estate. So when the bubble burst, LA's economy was crushed. I read him a quote from urban economist Joel Kotkin, a presidential fellow at Chapman University, comparing Villaraigosa's stewardship of LA's economy to an infamous Roman emperor. Villaraigosa might be compared to Emperor Nero, as the city has continued to lose thousands of middle-class jobs. Since 2005, Villaraigosa has basically stood by and fiddled. Pretty harsh criticism.
Well, consider the source. I know Joel, he's a nice guy, but not a very positive person. I was focused on real estate because the economy was focused on real estate. What you see when you go to Los Angeles, you see downtown LA Live, you see a revitalized downtown, a revitalized Hollywood, a revitalized Century City. Yes, we've been focused on where the economy was the strongest.
The mayor rejects the charge that he focused entirely on real estate, declaring that tourism and the Port of LA were also top economic priorities. But Daily News columnist, political commentator, and radio talk show host Earl Ofari Hutchinson says the mayor has lost ground in the African-American community because of a failed promise.
And most importantly, about economic development in probably the most under-economically developed part of the city, South Los Angeles. What I'm hearing, because of the disappointment, and many feel the failure of Mayor Villaraigosa to essentially fulfill the promises he made that got the support from African Americans, is now we cannot support you.
On education, Mayor Villaraigosa helped elect a majority of LAUSD board members who are his allies. And the superintendent, Ray Cortines, was his former deputy mayor for education. Nonetheless, the mayor says that doesn't mean he's in charge at the LAUSD.
I don't control the school board, but we do have a great relationship.
Yeah.
And as I said, I accept responsibility.
That means the mayor is now thrust right into the middle of the debate over laying off thousands of teachers. He says he has made it clear that support staff and bureaucrats must be laid off before any teachers' jobs are threatened. I told him about a story from a parent in Studio City who walked into a middle school class recently that had 1 teacher and 45 students. 45 kids in a class? Are you kidding me? I don't care what innovation you come up with. There is no way that's going to be a quality experience.
It's outrageous, pure and simple. We've got to do everything we can before we lay off the 4,500 teachers they want to lay off and the nearly 9,000 employees.
But are you convinced that's being done? Because I don't think the public really feels that.
Well, I'm convinced that the board president, superintendent understand that we have to cut bureaucracy first.
The mayor's support for solar power Measure B epitomized his efforts to make LA the greenest big city in America. Critics like former LA Daily News editor Kaye hailed the defeat of Measure B in the March election and called it the most cynical ballot measure he's ever seen.
They didn't count, and I don't think they do understand, the level of discontent that's all over this city, on the east side, the west side. People who have been involved in civic life have the same experience from every class of people that I've encountered, which is a city that doesn't care.
Still unanswered as he's about to take the oath for his second term as mayor is whether Antonio Villaraigosa will run for governor next year. Well, I asked about it. Mr. Mayor, are you going to be here for 4 more years?
I don't know. To be governor of the state of California is a big responsibility, particularly at this time when the system, by all accounts, is broken. I think we do need a strong leader who can help to fix it.
Now, on one subject, the mayor was surprisingly non-committal. Well, that was one you just heard. But also, I asked him whether the city charter should be changed to allow LAPD Chief Bill Bratton to serve a third 5-year term. He said the issue should be debated on the merits, not on the basis of Bratton, whom he says he respects and admires and considers a friend. But the mayor said the idea of changing a system that was fairly recently reformed in response to the Christopher Commission recommendations is bigger than one man. Sylvia?
Really revealing.